Hey there, rednecks, preppies, redneck preppies. It's me, the Redneck Preppy. How you doing today? Great? Good. Now, today's video is for my fellow Canadians, so if you live elsewhere, this might not be of much interest to you. I don't like talking politics on this channel, but politics doesn't want to leave us alone, so I'm forced to go there today. Now, whatever one can say about the Liberal government plaguing Canada, they are dully predictable. Faced with ongoing economic issues, poor poll numbers, and questions about the Prime Minister's future, on December the 5th, this government did what it usually does when it's in trouble. It pulls old Reliable out of its bag of tricks. Gun control! And to that end, they announced a further 300 or so assault-style firearms, a category of firearms that does not exist in Canadian law, would be banned immediately, adding to the over 1,500 they already banned back in May 2020 with an order in council, which is roughly analogous to an executive order for the Americans who are watching this. Now, I'm not going to go over the nuts and bolts of the firearms that were banned. Other channels have probably already done a better job than I would be capable of. Nor will I discuss the legal aspects. I'm not a law-talking guy, so I'm going to stay in my lane. I'll simply say that, like previous gun control efforts by the Liberals, the list of firearms, and there's a link in the description if you want to check it out, is the usual incoherent mess that betrays that this was a political move and not one about public safety. For example, among the firearms banned, it includes the TNW Browning M2 heavy barrel machine gun, a semi-automatic version of the heavy machine gun. Probably so astonishingly rare in Canada and impractical, it's a joke to actually put on a list. STG 44s? Yeah, they're on there. Hey, do you hate .22 caliber rifles? Well, fear not. They also banned a number of those as well. In fact, the list is bizarre because it doesn't actually include some of the rifles that I know for a fact that anti-gun psychos are like shaking with desire to ban. Now, I get the feeling that they're saving some for a third round of announcements in 2025, probably ahead of an election in October of that year, to give themselves a boost with the public. Now, clearly, they're making these decisions based on, protecting Canadians, as Dominic LeBlanc, Public Safety Minister and former Justin Trudeau babysitter, I'm not making that second bit up, by the way, that's true, stated during his press conference on December the 5th. I got a simple message for my fellow Canadian gun owners. Don't give up. They can add whatever they want to the list. There will not be any buybacks in 2024. There also won't be any confiscations in 2025. They've spent tens of millions of dollars and several years flailing around with this ongoing round of gun control and have only allegedly and finally come up with a program to buy back banned firearms from retailers, the easiest targets in all of this. Not from you and not from me. They don't even have a plan for that. The clock is ticking on this government. They have, as of the release of this video, 11 months left in their mandate. They're a deeply unpopular government. Their socialist allies keeping them propped up in Parliament, the New Democrats, are even more unpopular. And they're facing a young, dynamic leader of the official opposition, one Pierre Poilievre of the Conservatives, who is ragdolling them on a daily basis. Now, we shouldn't take anything for granted. I remember going to bed one night in November 2016 being assured by the media that Hillary Clinton was the next president of the United States. A lot can happen between now and October 2025. We certainly know that the Canadian media, which has had no pretense of impartiality for decades, will be attacking Poilievre and his party with unrestrained ferocity. That said, while it's tempting to get down at this latest announcement and, one potential future, we need to remain positive. We have several gun rights groups battling both in the public and legal spaces on our behalves. We have millions of gun owners in Canada, many of whom who've waken up to what this government is really trying to do to us. We have resources and a web of connections in our community that means we can organize and fight back. If we choose to. Instead of getting angry or despondent, you need to start getting involved if you aren't already. And I'm not talking about letters to your MP or leaving comments about, law-abiding gun owners are the real targets of this, below worthless CBC news stories or Facebook posts about this latest move. I'm talking about real action. I'm talking about financially supporting one or more gun rights groups in this country. Now, while I prefer the CCFR, if you'd rather have about the NFA or CSSA, go right ahead. Links to all three are in the description below. I'm talking about getting involved with spreading their message. I'm talking about getting involved directly with the groups themselves in some capacity. I'm also talking about getting involved politically. Now, while I personally have a jaundiced eye about politics and politicians in general, there are those who are better friends to us than others. I'm urging you to get involved with the local riding association of whatever political party you think best represents the interests of Canadian gun owners and has a chance of winning your local riding. I'm asking you to donate money to your candidates of choice. Engage with your friends who may not be gun owners but who are receptive to reasonable arguments. Lay out the reality of gun ownership in this country, who and what is causing the crime in a few hot spots in this country, and why the facts don't support the anti-gun psychos. You might not convince them, but you've at least exposed them to the other side, and perhaps it'll inspire them to do their own research on the issues. Take a non-gun owner out to the range, man. Nothing converts people faster than pulling a trigger and seeing the type of community that can be found at their local gun range. Most of us are pretty chill. Hey, how do you know a leftist party in power is in trouble? They announce a tax cut. And in our case, we're going to be getting $250 of our own money back in February so the Liberals can put a down payment on our vote. Now, if you can afford it, and I know thanks to those same Liberals, that's in question for millions of Canadians, but if you can afford it, consider taking some or all of that money and donating it to a gun rights group, to a local political candidate who is our friend, or both. But if you can't do any of that, at least keep up a stiff upper lip. Back in May 2022, I released a video called The Problem With, But What If They Ban It?, where I took aim at defeatism in the gun community. And I said the following at the time, and it's no less true today. Part of any cause's agenda is to convince the other side that they're going to lose, to demoralize them to the point that they either give up the fight or their efforts become scattered, unorganized, and half-hearted before finally giving way to giving up. If gun sales go down, we're essentially telling our opponents that we're giving up. A wag could argue that why should anti-gun psychos even bother with new regulations or a ban when the other side is essentially instituting one on themselves? New legislation only seals the deal on that defeatism. The fight isn't over. Time, at least for the moment, is on our side. Thanks to the looming election, we have a chance to effect real change and get rid of these buffoons. We have groups who are fighting the good fight for us, both in the courtroom and in the court of public opinion. We have ourselves. All you have to do is not give up. At any rate, I hope you found today's video to at least be vaguely entertaining and mildly informative. As always, keep your chin up. Take care, and bye-bye.